Hello, welcome back. Joni Lamb, co-founder and prominent figure behind Daystar Television Network, a global Christian broadcast ministry, is under intense scrutiny after allegations surfaced surrounding her $100,000 honeymoon. The claims, which were quickly circulated across social media platforms, have sparked a viral debate on the role of money in religious organizations and the ethical responsibilities of religious leaders, particularly those affiliated with major ministries. The controversy has raised uncomfortable questions regarding the connection between wealth, faith, and financial accountability within religious context. The initial rumors about Joni Lamb's extravagant honeymoon emerged through social media posts from critics who accused her and her late husband, Marcus Lamb, of spending a lavish $100,000 on a honeymoon shortly after their marriage. The figures behind Daystar Television Network, including the Lambs, have long been the subject of public attention, both positive and negative, due to their high profile in the Christian broadcasting world. As a major figure in the ministry, Joni Lamb's personal life and spending habits have always attracted public interest. The honeymoon accusations stem from allegations that the Lambs took a luxury trip to a high-end, exotic destination, indulging in a lavish vacation at a time when many of their followers are struggling financially. The critics argued that such spending was not only unnecessary but also hypocritical, given the ministry's teachings about humility, living modestly, and helping the poor. The viral claims quickly caught the attention of thousands of people online, who began to question whether this was indicative of a larger pattern of lavishness within Daystar's leadership. The crux of the criticism revolves around a perceived disconnect between the lavish lifestyle of high-profile religious leaders and the messages of faith, charity, and stewardship that they preach. As religious organizations increasingly depend on donations from their congregations or followers, the ethical responsibility of how funds are utilized becomes a central concern. Many believe that such an expensive honeymoon is an example of the misuse of donated funds and a sign of irresponsible leadership in Christian ministry. The power of social media cannot be overstated when discussing how the honeymoon allegations went viral. The initial post by an anonymous social media user questioning the exorbitant spending was shared widely across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Soon after, influencers and individuals from various backgrounds, some with connections to the ministry and others simply following the debate, began to voice their opinions on the matter. Hashtags such as Joni Lamb 100 Honeymoon and Daystar Exposed started trending, drawing in a wide audience. As the allegations gained traction, it quickly became clear that the issue was not just about the honeymoon itself, but about the broader issue of wealth accumulation by religious leaders. Many followers of Daystar, especially those who are struggling financially, were left questioning whether Joni Lamb and the leadership at Daystar were practicing what they preached, the Christian faith, particularly in its more evangelical or televangelist forms, has long been criticized for its often flashy lifestyles, and this incident has reignited those concerns. The debate intensified as more people began to question why religious leaders such as Joni Lamb and her family enjoy luxurious vacations, expensive homes, and a lifestyle that is far removed from the lives of many of their followers. The public perception of the Lambs' extravagant honeymoon became a symbol of the larger issues facing religious organizations in the 21st century. The tension between religious teachings of humility and the reality of wealth and power. Daystar Television Network is one of the largest Christian television networks in the world, broadcasting to millions of viewers across the globe. The network is well known for its faith-based programming, which includes talk shows, religious teachings, and outreach efforts aimed at spreading the message of Christianity. The network, which was co-founded by Marcus and Joni Lamb in 1993, also runs a number of charitable programs focused on providing aid to communities in need around the world. Despite these charitable initiatives, Daystar has been no stranger to controversy over the years, particularly concerning the lavish lifestyle of its founders. The network has faced scrutiny for its perceived financial mismanagement, with critics questioning how donor money is spent. The organization's financial dealings have been under the microscope due to the exorbitant wealth enjoyed by its founders, including luxury vehicles, lavish homes, and expensive international travel. The allegations about the $100 Honeymoon are just the latest in a series of controversies about financial accountability within Daystar. Religious figures in high positions, especially those with large TV ministries, have long been accused of using their platforms and charitable organizations as a means of personal enrichment. Daystar's critics argue that the wealth of its leadership stands in stark contrast to the poverty and suffering that many Christians around the world face. This perception is further compounded by the lavish lifestyle that Joni and Marcus Lamb have been seen to enjoy, which includes expensive vacations, designer clothing, and luxury gifts. While Daystar has consistently defended its financial integrity, claiming that their ministry is transparent in how funds are allocated, many followers and outsiders are not convinced. Critics argue that the network's financial transparency does not match the opulence of the lifestyle led by its leaders. For those who have been following Daystar for years, the honeymoon allegations serve as a reminder of the ongoing concerns about the appropriate use of ministry funds. As with most viral controversies, public opinion has been highly divided. Supporters of Joni Lamb and Daystar argue that the accusations are blown out of proportion and based on unfounded speculation. They assert that the Lambs have devoted their lives to spreading the Christian message and that any personal spending should not overshadow their ministry's work. Some defend the idea that successful people within the ministry should be allowed to enjoy the fruits of their labor, especially when they have worked to build a global television network that reaches millions. In response to the criticism, some have also pointed out that the Lambs are known for their extensive charitable efforts. Daystar runs a number of outreach programs aimed at addressing global poverty, providing relief in areas affected by natural disasters, and supporting medical missions. This work, according to the defenders, should be seen as evidence of the network's commitment to the public good, despite any personal indulgences. On the other hand, the critics argue that Daystar's charitable endeavors are not enough to justify the lavish spending habits of its leadership. The allegations of a $100,000 honeymoon have only fueled the perception that the Lambs are out of touch with the financial struggles of many of their followers. The comparison between their luxurious honeymoon and the struggles of ordinary Christians creates a narrative of hypocrisy that many find difficult to ignore. A growing number of people have called for greater financial accountability from religious organizations like Daystar. Critics have pointed out that churches, especially large ones, should be held to higher standards when it comes to how donations are spent. Donors give their money with the expectation that it will be used to further the mission of the ministry, not to fund personal luxuries. The controversy surrounding Joni Lamb's honeymoon has once again raised questions about the role of televangelism in modern Christianity. Televangelists, religious leaders who use television broadcasts to spread their teachings and solicit donations, have long been a target of criticism, particularly when it comes to their lavish lifestyles. In recent years, televangelism has faced increasing scrutiny from both within and outside the Christian community. The rise of online giving platforms, transparency initiatives, and independent watchdog organizations has put pressure on religious organizations to be more open about how funds are allocated. Despite this, some televangelists continue to live in the lap of luxury, driving expensive cars, staying in mansions, and taking extravagant vacations. The ethical issues at play in the case of Joni Lamb are part of a broader conversation about the relationship between wealth and faith. Many Christians believe that religious leaders should live modestly and use their resources to help others. The idea that some religious leaders are accumulating vast wealth while preaching a message of selflessness is seen by many as contradictory to the teachings of Jesus Christ, who emphasized humility and serving the less fortunate. The heart of this controversy is the question of financial accountability in religious organizations. How should religious leaders, especially those in positions of power and influence, be held accountable for how they use the funds donated by their followers? Should there be stricter oversight of televangelists and ministries, especially those that attract millions of dollars in donations each year? Supporters of greater financial transparency argue that ministries like Daystar should be required to disclose how funds are spent, particularly in regard to personal expenditures made by leaders. Transparency could help restore public trust in religious organizations and ensure that donor money is being used for its intended purpose. For some, the honeymoon allegations are just a small piece of a larger puzzle about the need for reform within the world of televangelism. As the viral controversy continues to unfold, it remains unclear how Joni Lamb and Daystar will address the allegations. The network has issued statements defending its financial integrity, but the criticism remains widespread. Whether this controversy will lead to lasting changes in how religious organizations are held accountable remains to be seen. Joni Lamb's reputation has taken a hit, and the broader conversation about money in ministry is far from over. The Daystar Network, once a beacon of Christian television programming, now finds itself at the center of a national debate on wealth, transparency, and ethical leadership in religious organizations. How the Lambs respond to these allegations and whether they choose to make changes to their financial practices will likely have long-term consequences for their ministry and their